Hello guys, I hope this video finds you well. All right, I came across these two videos today where I saw two legal juggernauts. These guys are, they are legal juggernauts. They expose. Firstly, they dissect the presidential, tribunal judgment that Justice Tsamani and his fellow criminals just gave, to Nigerians, not to the petitioner, but to we Nigerians, because that judgment was actually all about we Nigerians, not just about the petitioners. All right, now these legal juggernauts, they dissected the judgment. They exposed Justice Tsamani. We are content creators, journalists and the rest. We are not how will I put it? We are not lawyers, all right? We are not legal practitioners. But these guys I'm talking about, they are not just legal practitioners, they are legal juggernauts, all right? So they expose Justice Tsamani, they expose his criminal act, they expose that, they expose and proving that this guy is not just a corrupt, he's a thief. Justice Tsamani and his gangs, they are thieves. Not only that, they expose the rot in the judicial system. Guys, this video is a video all Nigerians must watch. Please, I don't want to say much. Before you watch this video, could you please give this video a thumbs up? Share this video, please. This video is a video all Nigerians must watch. This you may have not, if you have watched any video before, if there's any video must not miss on Facebook, on YouTube, it is this video. Please hit the share button now. Share it on your timeline, share it to your status, share to all the groups you belong, until all Nigerians hear this video, so that hear what is in this video, so that they will know the evil that our corrupt judges, our devilish politicians, what they are doing to Nigerians. Please make sure you share this video before you watch it. God bless you. I'll see you in my next video.
The NJC goes through a process of provisioning, clearing provisioning for the judges. You've got to have the court halls, the salary, the vehicles, the basic provisions for their operations. They cleared 15. The circular was clear. They nominated 34. Of that 34, all but 11 were sons, daughters, mistresses of particular individuals. In one particular case, the original list was 33. I wrote the letter. I signed it in my name. I was not anonymous, so I can tell the story of what transpired. There were 33 nominees. Then a senior judicial figure who was about to leave the bench put his mistress in there, making them 34. She had not been interviewed. She had not gone through the process. And I wrote to President Buhari, to his credit. He listened and suspended the appointment of all of the people that we objected to. So he cleared the appointment of 11. And then something extraordinary happened. A senior justice of the Supreme Court was retiring and managed to get the NJC to bring back the list of those people who had been suspended. And the people who opposed that list were persuaded not to attend the meeting of the NJC. And this particular senior justice had their child in there, got the list approved, rushed to the president, all of them were appointed. They are now sitting on the bench, including the daughter of Justice Bulkachua and Senator Adamu Bulkachua. So judicial appointments have been totally captured. Politicians and judges make up and take up the appointments. And members of the NJC, if you give me the list of appointments, I will tell you who put the name in there. All I need is make not more than 3 calls. I will tell you whose candidate is on the list. From where? When you get to that point, to a point where good people, irrespective of where they come from, but suitable candidates can no longer make it to the bench, you know you're in trouble. And that is where we are. But it is not just because suitable candidates can no longer make it to the bench, and politicians now have decided that in order to have a successful political career, you need to carry a judge in your back pocket and in your bedroom. It is that to be able to proceed to anything in the country, judges and politicians decide what happens. So politicians no longer need our votes.
Delivered last Wednesday as has actually aroused some suspicions and all that. And we want your reaction to this judgment and in all ramifications, sir.
Thank you so much. Like you pointed out, the judgment that was just delivered last 6th of September in the Presidential Tribunal, the Court of Appeal, actually it came as a surprise, not only to myself, but to all and sundry, all Nigerians, we meaning Nigerians, both at home and the diaspora. For me, I was in court that particular day because I'm one of the lawyers representing our party and our candidate. So like I said, I was disappointed because the court came out and the judges, they gave a judgment, but they did not render justice to the matter. So I can see that judgment as a judgment in error. We know that law is dynamic and is mutable. The law keep on developing, and the court, like in law, we say that whatever is the pronouncement of the court is what is the law. But then everybody looks up to the court as the last hope of the common man. It's a temple of justice. And even the judges who are the members of the bench, and even the lawyers who are equally members of the bar, we're all members of, we are all, in the temple of justice, we are ministers. But especially those of the judges, they are seen as they should be above board because they are looked upon, as arbiters. And when they come out to give judgment, they should equally look at the facts of the matter, look at the evidence adduced, and then arrive at their judgment. And that's why most times when you see a judgment of a court, there are rules, there are things you need to identify, what we call the obiter. The obiter dictum is what actually informed the court to arrive at their decision, or the stare decisis. But these things we are lacking in that judgment because looking at what I saw in the court that day, everybody says it. You saw there's issues that need to be addressed. When you talk about evidence, the court was even appearing as if they were aligning with the respondent, whether they were taking side. The way they reacted whenever there's an issue that concerns the respondent, they were there as if they were praising the respondents. But when it concerns the petitioners, which my party is one of them, PDP, they reacted vehemently, with anger, as if there was even one of the judges were saying, do we expect them, the court, to manufacture evidence? But I saw during the proceedings, there was overwhelming evidence that were tendered by my party and even the Labour Party, even concerning qualification. The respondent was not even qualified ab initio from what the evidence tendered by my own party, showing that the forgery, the certificate forgery that was there, even the matter is still pending in a court in America, showing that there was forfeiture, drug forfeiture, money laundering, that involved drug. And then I saw the court. The court supposed to be a court, like I say, a temple of justice. So they would have, even if they don't want to, rule on it, but they should have stood up to condemn that fact that somebody that is going to be a president of Nigeria would have had a case in court in America concerning or involving drug proceeds, and he was indicted and he forfeited that money. They were saying, like some of them were saying, it was not a criminal matter, whether civil or criminal. But at the end of the day, there was forfeiture. And in law, that's what we call plea bargain. When you forfeit something, you're trying to secure your freedom, and you had to forfeit something. The court would have risen up to condemn that particular act, even if at the end of the day. They're talking about transmission. I saw when the court was even saying that INEC has the right to transmit or collect results in any manner they want, which is not in order, because the Electoral Act was amended in 2022, and the innovation of that amendment of that act was that inclusion of electronic system of voting and transmission of results. And that was why the federal government spent billions of naira even procuring. The INEC was giving so much money to procure the beavers machine. What would have been the essence of the need of bringing beavers? Because the beaver was to capture the voter, accredit the voter, and then capture that voter and the votes after the result has been collected. You capture the result and transmit it to the IRA of INEC. Then at the end of the day, INEC said that there was a glitch, they did not transmit. And that burden of proof should have rested upon them to prove beyond reasonable doubt why that glitch. So we expected the court, and even Nigerians expected that court to rise up and say, no, we must strengthen our democracy. And that democracy, why should we? Because the importance in the past, there was that, anomaly when we collect results manually. There were people who can manipulate the results, because if you collect it from the polling unit, before you get to either local government collection center or maybe finally to the total collection center, you will see that people can impugn some figures in there, just like what happened. We tendered documents, and even Labour Party tendered documents from INEC, that most of the result sheets were blurred, no figures were seen. Even the ones that were seen, they saw them tipexing them, there were tipex on them, like in River State. These were things that happened and occurred, that took place in that election. We expected the court to condemn it, so that our younger generations who are coming up tomorrow, the future generation, can have confidence in both in INEC, both in the judicial system. Because if you don't do anything, you say the INEC has a right to transmit. You are finished. The Nigeria is finished. Then talk about that. You talk about the fact that, okay, INEC made promises. They said they were going to transmit. They said they were going to, and they failed in those their promises. Those are things we expected that they will rule on it. Then coming to that 25% of the FCT is a constitutional matter. And court supposed to be a court of legal direction, in order to, develop and more of our law. You are talking about a constitution. There's provision in section 134, which provided for FCT. But he said that for you to be, announced as a winner of a presidential election, that you must secure 25% in at least 2/3 of all the 36 states in the federation, and that conjunctive word and the FCT. That makes it mandatory. But the judges, the court now ruled and was even taking FCT to be like one of the states of the federation, making it 37 states, which, as far as I'm concerned, was in error, because there's rules of interpretation in law. We have the rules we call the literary rule. That's, you have to interpret literally whatever word you see in that constitution. We have what we call the golden rule. The court has to use golden rule. But the final one is the mischievous rule, the mischief rule. You use the mischief rule to know what is the intent or the intention of the drafters of the constitution. Because the members of the National Assembly, the legislative arm, when they make laws, we were not there. You didn't know what they want to cure. There must be a defect they want to cure. But when you want to read the constitution, the law says you read it, what we call community reading. Go to section 1 of the constitution. It provided that Nigeria should be a federation consisting of states and the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory. This is in section 1. That Nigeria should be a federation consisting of states and the FCT. So when you are not talking about making FCT a part of state, he did not. And he went further. Even if you go further, there's a place he provided in the constitution that provided about the 36 states, even defined them and made them. There's a schedule for 36 states. And he came to local government. He brought 774 local government and defined them. So there's no place he defined FCT as a state. So when you are reading, you do what we call community reading. Not only that section 134, you now said FCT is now regarded as a state, because there's no governor in FCT. There's no senator in it's only one senator. There are not three senators in FCT. So all these things, we have looked at them. As far as I'm concerned, the court of first instance has pronounced, given a judgment. But one good thing and one beautiful thing is that we still have a window, that there's still a door open for appeal, which is to appeal to Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land. And why it is important is that Supreme Court, apart from adjudicating in matters and ruling on cases, they are a court of legal direction. They direct. And when they direct that this is the law, it becomes the law. So that's why we are saying that the justices, eminent jurists, they did well. They did their best, because human beings, we are all human beings. Anybody is prone to mistake and whatever. But I know why we are talking about this. Democracy is, defines the will of the people. That's why he said it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So when you are talking about democracy, you look at the mindset, the mood of this nation, the mood of the people. Nigerians say that election that occurred or took place in 25th February 2023 was undermined, was rigged, was manipulated. That it is clear. Even the foreign observers, what do you call it, United European Union, came out with their report, and they were so vehement in condemning that election was not done properly well. And the people came and was reacting, condemning European Union. But this same European Union are people who support Nigeria, both in our election, they provide funds, even in other NDS, in the activities. They still have to assist Nigeria, and they provide funds. And these are people you brought as foreign observers with our local observers. They came up with a report, a well-detailed report, telling us that election was undermined, was manipulated. And you are trying to jettison this. It's not good. You need to look at something that is going to bring for a future generation, leave a legacy for our younger generation. That's what I'll tell you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now, looking at the PDP, of course, the PDP has acquired the certified true copy of the judgment.
Okay.
The next thing now is the appeal.
Okay.
What's going forward? What is the next step? What is the next thing? What do you have to tell Nigerians going forward?
Thank you so much. Like we said, it is a court process and procedure. The procedure is that after a court of first instance give judgment, you have a limited time, a time limit for you to apply to Supreme Court or a higher court, an appellate court, and you have to transmit all your processes and notice of appeal. So my party PDP have actually taken action. We are moving to Supreme. Even the presidential candidate have directed our legal team, and even the party have equally directed our legal team. All those processes are being taken care of. We are moving to the Supreme Court. We are transmitting all our documents and every document we need to rely upon, and equally the certified true copy of the judgment is part of it. And I know Labour is equally doing the same. But one thing I want to commend Nigerians and then the youth, importantly, is that Nigerians have seen it. They are more civilized. Nigerians are a civilized society and enlightened, because people used to condemn the youth and Nigerians. They are interested in their matter, because the late leader of Eastern States those days, Odumegwu Ojukwu, will tell you that because he's involved. The youth are involved because they know that what is at stake concerns them. Nigeria concerns them. Everything about Nigeria, nobody is greater Nigerian than another person. We're all Nigerian. But one thing I commend them is that for the way they have taken this matter, starting from after the election to the time the matter went to the tribunal and now going to Supreme, they've always reacted and responsibly, and looking at it that they don't want violence. Nobody wants violence. Nobody wants chaos or anarchy. But we want the due process of the law to be followed. We want the rule of law to take place. We want at the end of the day to achieve justice for Nigeria. That's why even everybody is saying, commending that people should go to the highest court of the land, Supreme Court, and let the court interpret our laws and interpret this judgment and come up with justice that can bring peace and equity and justice in Nigeria. That's what we are saying.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.